It's preseason, which means that your Dynasty League has woken up, and I am here to talk about Dynasty trades. It's me, Jagger May. That's Joey P, and this is a Dynasty trade show. Joey, this has been a long time in the making because the only time we've actually crossed paths on an actual show, you were out, but now I bring you on mine. And I give you a softball show. I say it's a softball because you do what dynasty managers do, which is you look at shit with zero context and you judge it. That's what I brought you on to do.
What could go wrong, Jagger?
Exactly. The first one is actually my trade, which made me think about this. I think this is fair on both sides. It's Luther Burden for Saquon Barkley. I went and got Burden. I took over this orphan, and it's a little bit older, but not quite put together the way that I want it in my own image. So I would rather get on Barkley now, get on Luther Burden while he's still, I don't know, affordable. It feels like this is the only price I could get for Burden right now. What do you think?
Well, first of all, we were talking before the show about context, right? Context of these trades are really important. You just said you took over an orphan, so right away, I already want to jettison whatever established running back talent that I have that is on the other side of 30 and start to rebuild with it. And that's what you're doing here, right? That's just good dynasty process, I feel like, when you're trying to flip over a roster a little bit. So Saquon, probably another year or two that you feel good about. Burden, on the other hand, potentially there's another 6 years that you're looking at him that could be very good, or even longer than that, depending on how things shake out for him. So I think that Burden can be a contributor this year. I think everybody believes that to be true. But in the dynasty context, Burden being the wide receiver is going to age better. He's a younger player. You're taking a little bit of a risk because he hasn't quite done it yet. We've seen some moments last season. We like what's going on with the new offense last year with Ben Johnson. We like the strides that Caleb Williams has made, but Caleb Williams still has a lot to work on, in my opinion. And I do believe that, with Burden, Loveland, Odunze, he's got a lot to help him on that path. So I feel good about this trade, probably for both parties, which I know that's not as fun of a hot take thing. But if I'm trying to win right now and I've got wide receiver depth and I can trade a Luther Burden and I can bring back a Saquon Barkley to help me for this year and maybe next year too, solidify that RB spot in my lineup, then I feel pretty good about that. So I think this is a win-win, which is what you want to try to be doing in most of these trades. Trades that make sense for everybody so that you're winning, but the other person's not losing necessarily either.
Yeah, and this is actually long time buddy that I've done fantasy with. We used to work in restaurants together, type
so
shit.
you've been in the wars then.
Yeah,
you work in a restaurant with somebody, that's a whole different feel, man.
Exactly, dog. So we are very fair trade partners. We always try to come at each other at least correct, and there's at least something that's counterable. So because he initially wanted to give me AJ Brown, and I'm like, no, I'm not. I love AJ Brown, but this is not the team that needs AJ Brown. I need to get younger. And I love what you said about Caleb Williams, because multiple things are true where he needs to improve, but the gap for him to improve isn't as wide as I would like to think. If you just start connecting on those big plays downfield and getting the layups, that is a lot of meat left on the bone for a lot of big production. Moreover, you have the value insulation of Luther Burden that he has to really shit the bed this year for us to not give, because the people are just so hyped on him. So only two things are going to happen. People are never going to draft Burden again because they've been burned by him, or you're going to have this guy where you're constantly going to say, well, next year's going to be the year where he's going to take the leap from high-end wide receiver 2 or middling wide receiver 2 to wide receiver 1. Whereas Barkley, I don't know, man. How do you feel about the Eagles this year, particularly Barkley in 2026?
I'm cautiously optimistic. Every year you have a different coordinator there, and it makes it really difficult to get a good feel on it. Last year, I didn't have a good feeling about it, specifically about Barkley, because I had done the research, and in the Black Book last year, I wrote at length about, hey, in the last 25 years, the guys who have had 400 carries the next year do not finish as an RB1. And it doesn't matter if they were just one-off guys or if it was guys who were Hall of Famers like Curtis Martin and Edgerrin James. They just did not finish the next year that way. So that was my big thing last year, trying to put that APB out for people so they don't understand that Saquon was a risky investment where he was being drafted. And nobody wanted to hear me. Nobody wanted to listen. And where did he finish? RB14. So, again, the process is right. Now, this year, coming into it, without A.J. Brown, there's certainly a lot of targets available. Mekhi Lemon is a rookie that I'm high on, but at the same time, we we have to be patient with these guys and make sure that they are, getting the reps. And when they're dealing with injuries, they get less reps, so things might be a little slower out of the gate. The Eagles are a tough one for me this season because it does feel like the Giants got better on paper. It feels like the Commanders got better on paper, and it certainly feels like the Cowboys defensively got better. So I'm really curious to see how they stack up now in that division that I think is going to be really competitive. Saquon, I expect to still get a ton of volume, and I think any change of coordinator is an improvement over Petula last year because I think he was just out of his depth. It just wasn't working. It wasn't jiving. So now there's an opportunity for, I think, the Eagles to get back to basics and really let Jalen Hurts kind of take over this offense and just be the true leader of it. It's time for him to do that, and that's what I want to see. And I do think if he's successful at that, Saquon will be successful along with it.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. Is Petula is what I call a rock bottom. Like this, you can only. Let's put it this way: you can either stay the same or you can get better. If very few things could make this work beyond mass injuries to Hurts or offensive line or something like that. Because people, I had someone the other day like Instagram. I'm sorry, guys. Y'all are a silly audience. some of the shit y'all tell me on their competitor Twitter is crazy. I'm not trying to insult. I love y'all. But someone just like, well, my model says that, he's going to lose a lot of the touchdowns based on last season. I'm like, buddy, just throw everything you saw out from Petula. Like, none of that matters.
Right,
that didn't happen.
There's no copy paste here at all.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be a completely different offense, not just because of the coordinator, but when you take A.J. Brown out of an offense, what you're able to do is so different. And now you have to completely change. I mean, you're going to see a lot more stuff over the middle, which is something new for Hurts to do at this NFL level on a consistent basis, which I'm not saying he can't do it. I think he can. It's just you haven't seen it because it's going to be a very different style offense, and any head coach or coordinator worth their salt is going to game plan what you have based on the personnel you have. It was one of the great strengths of the Patriot run over the years in that dynasty is they continuously evolved and developed depending on the personnel they had, whether it was the 2 tight ends during that one era or it was the Randy Moss, era before that, like all the different ideology and all the different specific types of Patriot offenses that you saw over that 20-year run were based off the personnel you had and the limitations and the plus sides and the minus sides of what they had. And I think you'll see that again with the Eagles this year.
Yeah, exactly. Because I love what you said about the personnel thing because, and this is still about Burden and Barkley, but we're going to just talk about the Eagles while we're here, guys. I think with A.J. Brown gone, when we talk about a receiving core like a basketball team, we're going to have the Patrick Ewing effect. Like A.J. Brown being gone is just going to elevate the rest of this offense better. And it's not even, I love A.J. Brown. This isn't just about him and whatever funky shit was going on in Philadelphia, off the field, whatever. But I do think that him being gone and off the books and some of the moves that they made, bringing in Mekhi Lemon, bringing in Eli Stowers, bringing in Dontavian Wicks, they have the best overall receiving core that they had, which before it was just Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, hyper-targeted, hyper-focused. When one of them was out, we got Dallas Goedert. Now you can really spread the offense around and see what kind of quarterback that Jalen Hurts is. Moving on to the next trade. This is a Colston Loveland trade. Guys, you should try to get Colston Loveland, especially if you could do it this way. They got Loveland. They traded away Aronde Gadsden, Mekhi Lemon, and a 2027 third-round pick. That doesn't matter to me. This is Mekhi Lemon and Gadsden for Loveland. Don't do this if you have Loveland. I like Mekhi Lemon, okay? It sounds like we're going to talk out of both sides of our mouth here. I think that the Eagles are going to be a better offense. I am still concerned about the high-end upside on Mekhi Lemon, particularly in 2026, whereas Colston Loveland still has an entry point, and he's just right there before we get at that McBride-Bowers level. He's practically there already, where people just, what point is there trading him? Because you're at the pinnacle, and he's young. What is this?
Well, to your point, which I think is a very astute one, we can like Mekhi Lemon and we can love Colston Loveland. There's a difference. It's okay to be in that range of things. Gadsden, if Njoku didn't get signed, would be a much different situation. But with Njoku there, we just don't know the personnel and how they're going to come out on the field and how much Gadsden's going to be able to work. It was a fun couple games there last year for Gadsden, but To me, this is a steal for Colston Loveland, who is the best player in this deal. I always want the best player in the deal whenever I can get that. And Loveland, I think, is the focal point of his offense. And asked many times, is it Luther Burden, is it Odunze? My answer is different weeks is going to be different guys. But the one guy you can count on every single week, I think, is going to be Colston Loveland. And I think they very much showed their hand last year in the second half and into the playoffs last year of what the Bears want to do. Ben Johnson went in there as a first-year head coach and obviously had a lot to say in the draft because they were aggressive in this draft. Loveland went, I think, a little bit before a lot of people thought he would go in that draft. And right away, he made an impact last year in his rookie season. So Mekhi Lemon, even at his best the next year, maybe even two, is still the third guy in that Eagles offense behind Saquon Barkley and behind Devonta Smith. Whereas you're getting the focal point of the Bears offense for the next 2 years. So to me, I think Loveland is the win on this deal. It's not to say they didn't get some talent back. The third round pick, obviously, I'm kind of where you are. That's a little bit of a dart throw for me, so it doesn't enter into it too much. I think this was a very savvy proposal. And I think it was a very good get by the person who dealt those pieces and got Loveland.
I want to go back on Twitter and ask this person, did you hustle a Gadsden fan? Because this is what this is. Someone's
it's
like,
possible, bro. It's possible.
Yeah. Because they think, I got free Mekhi Lemon and Aronde Gadsden. He's going to be a top. Guys, come to Jesus with me right now. Aronde Gadsden is not going to be a fantasy impact in 2026. I was telling you this shit 2 months ago. It is not about Aronde Gadsden, the player. Tight ends, and I'm sorry, Joey, you got to hear a classic rant. Tight ends are the most. Here for it. They're the most scheme dependent out of all these skill players. Scheme is everything. Are you going to be a blocker? Can you block? Do you have versatility? Mike McDaniels comes from a McShanahan offense where versatility is everything. You know what Aronde Gadsden has? Not versatility because he can't block. So they bring in Charlie Carler. They bring in David Njoku. Am I saying that David Njoku is going to be a stud? No, I'm saying you want none of them. This is a backfield where a three-headed monster, and that monster, all the heads are stupid. They're all the little, like the dumb dragon here. You don't want any of them. Aronde Gadsden, we had a good time. I don't think this is, I'm going to sell Loveland to go get Gadsden. Don't do this. I'm sorry.
Over 2 games too, Jagger. I mean, let's be honest. It was 2 games of Gadsden. And it's still going to be a very run-heavy attack no matter what Mike McDaniel comes in to do because Harbaugh's philosophy is still going to be that. And it's not to say that Gadsden can't make some impacts, but it's far different from the guy like Loveland, who I think is going to be perennially in the top 3 for the next 5 years at this tight end discussion as we rank guys year over year, depending on injuries and health and all that stuff. Whereas Gadsden, I find a hard way to get there. And I find a hard path for Mekhi Lemon to be in the wide receiver 1 conversation right away. It's something he could evolve into over time, but I don't think we're going to be here this time next year looking at and say, Mekhi Lemon, top 10 wide receiver, right? Like, I don't think that Eagles offense is going to allow that to happen.
No. That is... To put this in, we're going to do what you shouldn't do in fantasy. You're going to make egregious comps. That's what I'm going to do now. You just traded Trey McBride to get Mike Gesicki and Devontae Smith at best. That's what you did. That's gross, man. Like, say that out loud, what you just did. Like, it's kind of what the upside you just gave up. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I mean, Mike Gesicki might have had some better... overall game. I gotta have to go back and look at the game log last year. But I remember Gesicki popping up a couple times last year when Joe Flacco was playing quarterback. I have to go back and look. But who had more touchdowns last year? Gesicki had 2. What did Gadsden have? I know Gadsden had at least 2. He probably had 3 or 4, right? When I go back, 3
in that 2-game
so
stretch.
Yeah, right. Yeah, 2 of them.
Yeah, and it goes back to I go to scheme where he's not that great of a blocker. So let's just have Charlie Collar out there. Let's just have David Njoku, who's competent. He's not Charlie Collar, but he's definitely better than Gadsden, and he can do a little Gadsden-y stuff. Or you can put Quentin Johnson out there, who basically does tight end shit, like big slot tight end shit. He's close to the line of scrimmage. I'm way into Quentin Johnson. That sounds gross. Like he's the ugly girl who I rejected in high school. They have now gotten in shape in college, and I'm now interested. This is what's happened to me with Quentin Johnston. That's what you got to think about in Gadsden.
So QJ's the glow up for you? Is that what?
Yeah, 100%. Okay. He's the glow up girl for me. I'm like, hey, QJ, you looking good, girl. And
should
at
have
that
been
point,
nice to him when you were in high school.
when he was free.
You should have made that investment, Jagger. See?
No. Before we go any further, make sure to hit the like, subscribe if you're on your mobile device and it's available. Make sure to hit the hype button. YouTube keeps getting creative ways for me to ask you to do stuff. More importantly, I'm going to ask you to do the great thing. I just told you guys that we had JAG20 as a code. For right now, it's JAG35. That gets you 35% off everything. We have our draft assistant up. We just did a lot of testing for that. We back up with Sleeper Baby, Yahoo, anything that you need to sync up your league for a draft assistant. We have the best. I just updated all my redraft rankings. You Dynasty folks, this is a Dynasty show. I'm taking care of you today because I don't make as many drastic moves to Dynasty like I do with redraft. As well, I am making an entire Dynasty guide that it's going to be dropping this week where I've gone through all my projections, all 32 teams, and given you predictions of how the market is going to move throughout the entire season. I am also making rookie content for you right away. I'm talking about Dane Brugler shit, where we're not just talking about our wide receivers and tight ends. I'm getting gross. We're talking about offensive linemen. I'm giving you the top 50. I'm giving you premium stuff. So you want to go over to rotowire.com, use my code JAG35 at checkout, because that is cheaper than your overpriced coffee, as your boomer dad would like to say.
Fantasy football season is right around the corner, and DraftKings is bringing you their biggest best ball contest ever. We're talking a massive $20 million in total prizes, making this the largest best ball tournament in DraftKings history. And this year, not just one, but 3 players are going to walk away as millionaires. And right now, our partners at DraftKings are giving all customers a can't-miss offer. Draft one, get one. Enter a lineup in the $20 million best ball contest for just $25, and you'll receive a bonus best ball ticket to play again free for a share of $20 million, giving you a second shot to be crowned a millionaire. It's simple. Just draft your team once, no weekly management. Let your top scorers automatically start each week. Every breakout star, every clutch play, and every touchdown counts towards your shot at a share of $20 million. Download the DraftKings Daily Fantasy app and enter a lineup for the $20 million best ball contest for just $25 and get a bonus ticket to play free for another shot to win big. That's 2 shots without ever setting your lineups again in DraftKings' biggest best ball contest ever. Draft one, get one, only on DraftKings. The crown is yours in partnership with DraftKings. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. New York, call 877-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. 18 plus in most states. Restrictions apply. 1 per customer. Enter the Best Ball 20 million headliner contest to get 1 bonus entry. $25 entry fee required. Reward expires at contest lock September 9th, 2026. See terms at DraftKings.com/promotions. Sponsored by DraftKings.
I think I'm done paying the bills, and we're going to go to a Jayden Daniels trade. I should have put him at 5 out of respect, but he's here as our third trade. Someone bought Chase Brown and Jayden Daniels for Daniel Jones, Jonathan Taylor, and Emeka Egbuka. I would be sad to lose Egbuka. I do not care about Daniel Jones. I am skeptical on Jonathan Taylor. I've actually ranked Chase Brown ahead of Jonathan Taylor. I think this is a slam dunk in Emeka Egbuka now with turf toe. It's not turf toe. It's turf toe. I've done this game long enough now. Where are you at with this? Because I think it's a slam dunk, Daniels and Brown.
I'm not quite as the slam dunk, but I do agree with you. I think Daniel Jones will bounce back more than people realize. I've been drafting him everywhere in Superflex as my QB3 because he's just free, and that gives him enough time to kind of get his sea legs under him again and get healthy again and get a feel back for playing after missing time with a significant injury last year. But I just had Justin Boone on my show on Fandom NFL, and we had it was his must-haves, like the guys that he really wants in drafts. And the first guy we talked about was Chase Brown. And one of the fun facts that, was we were having that conversation, we were digging around, I asked him how many guys had more receptions last year than Chase Brown, and that was in the context of also not having Joe Burrow under center for a good chunk of the season. And the answers were Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson, Christian McCaffrey, and Kenneth Gainwell. That's it. So he was 5 on that list. right?
Kenneth Gainwell's funny.
Well, Kenneth Gainwell kind of snuck in there, and I was like, you're not going to get this one. I'll give you a hint. He's on another team now, but he had a good PPR, and he actually got it after I gave him the clue. But just for the context, think about that for a second, what Chase Brown was able to do last year. We're talking about the guys at the very top, the top 3 RBs, right, that we all covet so much. But we never talk about Chase Brown in that same conversation. Now, why? Because in PPR leagues, he's in the 60s in terms of receptions. He's catching at least 54 balls the last 2 years. He has really come a long way in the last 2 seasons here as a very important pass catcher in this offense. Now, some might say, well, with Joe Burrow back, offense is going to run a little differently. You won't see as many dump-offs. To which I say, I don't know about that. The counter-argument I have to that is Joe Burrow being back on the field means moving the chains more, which means more opportunities, which means Chase Brown, right, gets more opportunities. Exactly. So I think getting Brown, the younger running back, for base, and Jayden Daniels, who, look, I love Jayden Daniels. He was my pick for Rookie of the Year he came out. I was right. I made a lot of money off it. I'm very excited. Last year, very disappointing season for him and for the Commanders. But I think long-term, just from a sheer fantasy perspective, not just for this year, but for the next 2 to 3 years, which is what that dynasty window is for me, it's hard not to think you got the best of the deal here. It's not, I mean, you can't throw Jonathan Taylor out with the bathwater here. Like, Jonathan Taylor's still stud, and he's still going to be very good for this year and probably next year as well, barring any more ankle injuries and issues. Egbuka is a piece that I really like. That's the piece that kind of makes me go, ooh, man, that I think it's fair. I'd rather be on the Chase Brown side of this one, just from a dynasty perspective of age and youth and where we're going trajectory-wise, as opposed to Daniel Jones, who had a really good year last year, but he had another incomplete. He's only had one full healthy season. It's funny when you look back at the body of Daniel Jones and his work. Emeka Egbuka is that one piece that I am still very high on. I love those wide receiver guys from Ohio State. I just do. So I just feel like Egbuka, turf toe I don't love, and you're right. Let's call it what it is. It's toe injury, probably turf toe. Let's move on with it. But it could put a real hamper into at least the first half of the season for him.
Yep, that's that. And again, this is Dynasty. Egbuka is the one where you all talked about burden. Even if it doesn't happen this year because of turf toe, whatever, Baker injury, I'm going to be buying again because all the peripherals, well, we want to chase the JSN thing. This is what we do at fantasy. This is how analysis works. We look at what outliers or what peripherals happened and what caused whatever fire. And we want to recreate that fire again. Egbuka, I think, follows that model. But and I'm curious to what his rest of his receiving core is, because I like to play detective and go back. Well, you're getting Egbuka at this cost last year, so who's probably your wide receiver 2 or 3, meaning that you have some solid wide receivers, and you getting high upside, high leverage players like Daniels and Brown. I love this, and I love that you said that if Joe Burrow being back is your reasoning for not getting Chase Brown, this is not how the game is played, my guys. Go over, again, we have our draft plans all done on RotoWire for you Dynasty folks that I know you're doing redraft. You guys are like, I don't want to hear about redraft. You're playing redraft if you're doing Dynasty. My draft plan over there talks about how I value offense, what quality of offense, offensive line, and quarterback. They're like, do you value consistency? I don't give a shit about that. You know what causes consistency? Having a quarterback who can move the chains. That's what gives you high leverage touches, meaning that, yes, you might not get 3 carries every time there's some downs because the quarterback can't throw the ball, but you're going to be getting 2 quality and meaningful carries in the red zone or moving the chain or a pass that isn't behind you and in the dirt. Shit like that, guys. That's how you play the game. Now we're going to go on. I feel like we have a lot of Makai Lemon. I didn't mean to do this.
He's really I'm shocked that a player who hasn't played yet is getting dealt so much.
So much. Yeah. He's
that was what stuck out to me. I was like, man, it's like the Makai Lemon trade show, it feels like.
Yeah, he's the Dennis Schroeder of Dynasty right now. He's just going to
There's a poll. I did not have that one on my bingo card today, but I'm happy it's here for it. Look at you. Look at it.
I saw a stat randomly. I was like, Dennis Schroeder's been on 5 teams in 20 days. I'm like, damn, that's tough, man. Makai Lemon. This is actually a Cyrus Allen trade. Let's say it's a Cyrus Allen trade.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're buying hard on the camp buzz. I mean, look, it's not that it doesn't look bad in camp, but. Man. Dare
I say this is a fair trade? Makai Lemon for Cyrus Allen in a 2027 first. Because you're going to get a good receiver. Cyrus Allen could be the Carson Steele of wide receivers.
Don't put that evil on him, Ricky Bobby. I don't want to do that. I don't put that evil on him. But he could also be the guy that comes out of nowhere and becomes really productive. And we've seen that. I mean, it's funny because Rashee Rice, look, you and I do this stuff for a living, but like it's different out in the casual circles. Like there's guys, I remember doing process on Khalil Shakir, and I was like, I think that Shakir kid's going to be pretty good. And then we landed with Josh Allen. I went, oh, he's going to be useful. And I remember using like a 5th round pick on him in a dynasty draft. And I was like, I know it's going to work. He's going to be okay. He's going to be useful at least, right? And same thing with Rashee Rice in that process, who I think came out of nowhere for a lot of other people and certainly for the casuals. But Cyrus Allen's another one of these guys too, where it's all about where you land, right? And if you land in an Andy Reid scheme where there's lots of opportunity at wide receiver right now, especially with Rashee Rice not being a guy that they're going to, I do not see a long-term investment in him. He's had way too many issues. So there's a pathway for him, but it's more getting that 2027 first, where it's such a heavy quarterback. So if this is a super flex, I love this trade because you're getting something in that quarterback pool, whether it's a Sellers or whether it's, whoever it ends up becoming this year. It's not going to be the one pick most likely. You'll get Manning or whoever ends up being dubbed that number one guy. But to get a 2027 first rounder for basically, what this is, which is Cyrus Allen, I mean, I think that's if Mekhi Lemon round. I think that's pretty good because as good as Mekhi Lemon, I think will be and could be, his ceiling is probably like the poor man's Amon-Ra St. Brown, right? I think that's
Devontae Smith. His ceiling is Devontae Smith.
Yeah, but I think physically he's a little different player. He's a little bit more, he's a dog for the ball. When you watch tape on him, that's the one thing I like about him a lot, whereas he is a dog for the ball, especially over the middle, right? And even in Devontae Smith's best times at Alabama and stuff like that, that Slim Reaper thing, he was very smooth and he was very smart. And he had to be, because if he didn't, he'd get his ass kicked because of his frame, right? I don't feel that same way about Mekhi Lemon. Mekhi Lemon will go out there and be a little bit more aggressive for the football in certain situations, which I like a lot, and that usually portends to you being the favorite of a quarterback at some point.
Mm-hmm. And that's like for me, Mekhi Lemon, I mean more statistically, he's Devontae Smith.
Oh, you're 100% right there. Yes.
Yeah. Like at the end of the day, he's going to be a very, very good 2 for you, but he's never going to be the guy that you're like, his advancement rate isn't going to be crazy for playoffs. If you like the smarter people do advancement rates. I wait on them to give me those numbers. I worry about everything before those numbers come out, and that's what I'm anticipating is Mekhi Lemon's going to be a great player. But if you have a chance to get Cyrus Allen and, like you said, the quarterback pool and the receiver pool, the premium positions that last a long time and give you high upside, you made a good bet and you may have someone free. Because, like, to go on your point on Rashee Rice, I love shitting on Rashee Rice over here. This is a safe place. Is that I've told everyone Rashee Rice is not a skill set and he is not at a cost because he's a day 2 receiver and he's a shit ass where you have to worry about if anyone comes in and flashes any talent, they are going to move on with them, and that might have happened. And again, I'm not saying that Cyrus Allen is going to be this absolute stud, but if he's useful, he can nerf Rashee Rice. And if he is useful, he may be a dynasty chip that you can be flipping later. Because here's where I would say is where you need to play chess, where like, maybe Cyrus Allen is something, maybe he's not. But if he's only kind of flashing and has a little bit of value where he's annoying, go try to sell him to a Chiefs fan or something. Turn him into another second or first or another player that's falling at some point in week 6. And you've really profited off Mekhi Lemon twice. So,
yeah, I think it's a very astute way of looking at it. I'll be honest with you. And it's funny because this show feels like some of us are, like you and me both, throwing a little cold water on Mekhi Lemon. I don't want to give that impression off because I really like him. I like him in redraft.
It's Dynasty, dude. You have to think about it all angles.
Yeah, and I like him in Dynasty. I like the player. So the context of some of these trades, it's just a little tough. If you give me Colston Loveland or Mekhi Lemon, I want Colston Loveland. And stuff like that where, I don't want people to get the wrong idea that they should start trading off all their Mekhi Lemon shares right now before you play a game in the NFL. It's crazy.
And actually, thank you. I'll bring up a good point. This is not go out and trade Mekhi Lemon. Here's if you are going to trade Mekhi Lemon. Here
Look how much
are
you
some
can get.
good ways. Yeah, here are some good ways to do it. Like a 2027 first for Lemon, if you're not competing and you're ways out, I would do that. But if you are competing, and I would just keep Mekhi Lemon and stash him if he's your wide receiver 2 or 3, depending on where you got Lemon. There's multiple scenarios. Let's put it this way, guys. If you want Mekhi Lemon, hop in our Discord, use Jag35, and I will tell you how to trade him personally. Jamar Chase is our next trade. Someone bought Jamar Chase for DJ Moore and Malik Neighbors. I am going to make some assumptions here because you're like, oh, he's rebuilding. Why buy DJ Moore if you're rebuilding? I don't hate this on either side. If you just want to consolidate and get a stud, get Jamar Chase. If you need some depth, DJ Moore is free, and I think we overthought DJ Moore just a little bit because everyone's like, oh, he's cooked. What if he just wasn't a good fit in Chicago?
Not me. I'm tired. So in on DJ Moore, and it feels like everybody, as you said earlier, is coming to Jesus now and meeting me there. Like, yeah. I mean, there was nobody there, and now you're dropping DJ Moore with Josh Allen. Stop overthinking this, everybody. This is a guy that was getting 1,000-yard receiving seasons with Kyle Allen. He's never played, not Josh Allen, Kyle Allen. This is the best quarterback he has ever played with, period, end of story. And it's not close, not even last year, okay? So that whole thing with DJ Moore is going to be very good this year. Malik Neighbors, I think, will be slow with that injury stuff. Yeah. But Chase is the guy you want because he is maybe the 101 in Dynasty still. Like, it's tough. Like, I get this trade. I don't think it's a terrible trade. You know, I think for this year, you might even, in some ways, like it if Malik Neighbors is healthy enough to deliver Malik Neighbors level stuff. But long term, it's just hard to get rid of Jamar Chase. But if you're going to get rid of him, it's not a bad haul. It's not it's not the best, but it's not bad.
The bull case for the DJ Moore neighbor side is DJ Moore can keep you fed the first half of the season. And then when hopefully things come together for the Giants, Malik Neighbors is gravy, and we start to see some of that rookie Malik Neighbors again towards the back half of the season, and then you're really cooking with grease. Because, like I said, I this is one of the few times where I see both sides and I agree with both. And to go back to your point on DJ Moore, there's two arguments that I've heard: is Chicago Bears. Ben Johnson's scheme is just vastly different from Joe Brady's. Is one better? Probably, but I don't think that Joe Brady's is horrible. Ben Johnson requires you to be precise. He wants you to be on time, on target. That's the whole Caleb Williams thing. But I mean on target for your wide receivers. That's not DJ Moore's game. Joe Brady likes to get players open in space. So I think that right away, Ben Johnson showed up and said, you're not the player for me. First press conference, he walked up. I keep joking on this show. Or Ben Johnson walked up to the podium. He said, hi, I'm Ben Johnson. I'm here to win. I don't fuck with DJ Moore. Like, that's basically what he said immediately. Now you go over to something that fits his scheme. And as you said, say what you want about Caleb Williams. Josh Allen is who we want Caleb Williams to be as a passer right now. The other side is like, well, the Bills have never produced 1,000-yard passer since Stephon Diggs. If Keon Coleman is your reason for making the fantasy decisions, what are we doing? Keon Coleman is not DJ Moore. To go to your point on Khalil Shakir, I like Khalil Shakir. Useful player, not DJ Moore.
Useful, not DJ Moore. Right.
Exactly. DJ Moore is a type of player who would make Khalil Shakir better because Khalil Shakir is going to see a lot more single coverage because DJ Moore requires a lot more attention. Give me locks, whatever your name is. I like both sides of this. You risked it for the biscuit. At least Malik Neighbors is young. I will say this. Jamar Chase isn't old or anything like that. I think this is a slam dunk for both sides. Next trade. This is a fun one. Parker Washington for Brian Thomas Jr. straight up. What side of this are you on? You have to choose.
I know. I will choose. I'll take the Parker Washington side. No. And it's not a shot on the player that Brian Thomas is. He could be a good player in the NFL. We saw that his rookie year. I just feel like Parker Washington just seems to have that fit and that connectivity. And it seems like in the preseason, I had Mike Dempsey on my show from Jaguars today because I know he's on the ground at camp every day watching. And he came away. His big takeaway, and first couple weeks of camp was Parker Washington is the favorite target of Trevor Lawrence. Like that's just where he's at with it. And, Brian Thomas can still be useful, but I think for this, I'd just rather roll the dice with Parker Washington at this point. And that happens sometimes. Like these circumstances a lot of times come out of nowhere that you don't see coming. I mean, we had to dial back a couple years, but Cooper Kupp was something nobody quite saw coming, right? Like Cooper Kupp was a guy that was like, okay, contributor, interesting guy, could be on the rise. Then Cooper Kupp exploded, right? There was a time where he and Robert Woods were neck and neck in ADP, and it was not that long ago. Right before the big breakout season, it was unbelievable, right? So where the player lands, the scheme he lands with, the quarterback he lands with, it means everything. And I guess having breakfast with your quarterback matters too. So I don't know if Parker Washington is getting his Cheerios with Trevor Lawrence or not, but I do know that I don't think last year at the end of the year was a fluke, and it doesn't seem like it compared to what we're getting right now. And I do think there's still that chance that you could see another team come knocking on the door for Brian Thomas too, and then that becomes an interesting other side of this. Like if he goes to a place where you're like, oh wow, I really like him here with this quarterback, then Brian Thomas could take over. But right now we only know what we know, and I'll take Parker Washington on this. What side are you on?
I'm on the Parker Washington side, but again, this is why I like Dynasty. Is like I'm very pro Brian Thomas Jr. because like I'm one where like why would the Jaguars want to trade Brian Thomas Jr. unless Travis Hunter just never quite develops? Like if anything, like you paid Jacoby Myers way too early, and he's the one that seems like the biggest problem here because both of these guys complement each other. My actual issue with this trade is that the market has clearly shifted to Parker Washington, so why wouldn't you try to get any gravy on Brian Thomas Jr., even if it's a third, even if it's a throw-in deal? Like, I would ask, like, cool, man, and he might not have him, but if you had like an Eli Raritan type, throw that on top because you have some gravy on there. That's actually why I wanted to talk about this. You can believe in Brian Thomas Jr., but you should play the market a little bit. Even if it's just a fourth, you should try to leverage getting something on top of it if someone clearly has another player valued. Like that's just game theory, in my opinion.
Yeah, look, I think this is a fascinating trade. And this is the fact that this even happened, I think is really interesting because this proves that there is still a camp of people that still refuse to give up the Brian Thomas moniker, which means that he still has value around dynasty leagues. So I think that's my biggest takeaway from this is that there's still people that want to buy Brian Thomas Jr. So if you had him and you're super down on him after last year, there's room to move him for picks or move him for other players. I think that's my biggest takeaway from this deal.
Yep. Last trade. Another... It's funny because you could see the players that are on the move. DJ Moore, Jonathan Taylor, they seem to be hot. Someone bought Jonathan Taylor with DJ Moore, Quinshon Judkins, and the 27th third. Give me Judkins and Moore. I don't know, man. I'm just low on the Colts, and I meant to talk about this earlier. Daniel Jones has just not been healthy. The receiving core is not healthy. Daniel Jones has only been good and healthy one season at the same time. We have one. We have a lot of data that says he's not so good. And Alec Pierce being gone bothers me. I like Josh Downs. I like Tyler Warren. I'd feel better about both if there was a field stretcher. I think right now our Colts team would love to have A.D. Mitchell, but they like rage traded him to the Jets. I thought that was way presumptuous. And I do think that long term, we're going to be talking about Quinshon Judkins like Jonathan Taylor. I think as a talent, they are the same. And maybe I'm wrong on that. I am actually very bullish on the Browns long term because they actually reset. They went and traded Myles Garrett, got a good haul back, including Jared Verse as a good defensive player. And on top of that, they got DJ. Why did I say DJ Moore? They got Casey Concepcion and then Denzel Boston, who are, to me, vastly better than what they had. And then Jerry Jeudy is, as a wide receiver 3, much better as your wide receiver 1. And they improved their offensive line. And they're in a good position in 2027 to lose in a fun way to get a quarterback finally, to where they're not settling for stupid shit like Deshaun Watson. So I would just rather have the other side, even though DJ Moore's older, even though Quinshon Judkins probably doesn't have the upside as Taylor in 2026.
This is an interesting one for me because I still feel like Taylor is at his peak, but that's exactly when you want to start figuring things out here with with a player and not waiting that 1 year too long, especially at running back, right? Like that's that one thing. It's like, man, Jonathan Taylor was just, could it be any possibly better for, Jonathan Taylor last year with the amount of touchdowns he had and everything that was going on? Probably not, right? So the fact that you are buying in on Quinshon Judkins, who I don't know if he's Jonathan Taylor reborn 2.0, but I don't disagree with you that the upside is to get closer to that Jonathan Taylor moniker than I think farther away from it. So I see the same thing that you see in Judkins, which is, there's a Browns team that's going to have to run the football no matter who the hell's playing quarterback, and we still don't know who the hell's playing quarterback. It's the only QB job that's still up for grabs right now, and it's a disaster. But I think that you get DJ Moore for another. I still say there's 2 good years of DJ Moore. I want to say there's at least 2 good years of Jonathan Taylor. Now you're getting a younger running back, and you're getting another pick thrown in there too. I'm with you. I lean towards the Judkins side of this deal, but I get it, especially if you're a team that's like win now. Jonathan Taylor is the win now piece that really puts you over the top, especially if like the scoring is more of a half PPR format where touchdowns matter so much. I could see that being something that you would move in a lot of pieces to get Jonathan Taylor to kind of put you over the top. That I get.
Yeah. I feel like the Browns QB battle is one of these things where you're like, kids, you're both just awful.
Timmy, I want to sit both of you down and I just want to tell you, it's just like, you guys have played really hard. You guys have tried really hard, but we just don't think either one of you is cut out for this sport. And we just want to we want to cut both of you. We're gonna try to have some kid move from out of town, like that little league team that tried to get the kids from out of town to go play. Like we're gonna try to get somebody else in here. I mean, I don't know, dude. The Browns are the Browns, right? They're just gonna brown. That's just what they do.
Yeah, this is it's like, who's going to be our new manager? It's Mr. Outside Hire. That's who you're getting in 2027.
Pretty much.
So those were 7 trades, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. More importantly, if you want to join the community where I answer trades all the time, make sure that you get our all access plan where, again, you could join our Discord. It's not just me in there. We have Theo Greminger, we have Ian Harditz, Jim Coventry, and not just talking to us. We have our full suite of tools. I'm working on building some Dynasty tools for you guys as well. All kinds of stuff. Use my code JAG35 for 35% off while you still can. Joey, you are all over now. You got you just launched an MLB channel. You got your own shit going on. I know the Fantasy Black Book is happening. What kind of stuff you got going on?
Yeah, so Fandom NFL is out there rock and rolling right now. We're already almost closing on 3,000 subs after a couple weeks, so that's a great start to the channel. Everybody's coming over there. We got some great guests. We had Theo on last week, actually. You mentioned Theo. We got Justin Boone on. Laquan Jones was on last week. We've done some great shows there. Trying to do things a little different, bringing you some fun, bringing you some characters. So Fandom NFL on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts too. And then on top of that, we will be launching the baseball version of that in the next couple weeks ahead too, just kind of get ahead of the game for next year. So if you watch me for baseball, don't worry, I'll be back there for that as well. And yeah, Fantasy Black Book is still out there on Amazon. Just updated the digital cheat sheets too, which every time there's a cycle of news, and God knows we're going to get more cycles of news in the next 24, 48 hours, I will update those as well and send them out to you so you're ready for all of your drafts and everything is locked and loaded. It's just nice to spend some quality time talking ball with you. It was nice to hang out with you in person a couple weeks ago at the expo, have a couple cocktails, and now look at us talking football here on your show. It's good times. I appreciate you having me, man.
Good times. I love what you said. It's like, I just started a projections article. I'm like, cool. As soon as I finish finalizing my projections, all right, injuries, let's start happening.
I tell you, you hate it. And people ask, is there going to be another update? To which I always say, can we let the weekend play out first? Like, people ask me, like, guys, I have to let all these stupid preseason games play out because you don't know what injury is going to happen and what's going to change things. I have to wait, and I'm not going to do them one at a time. You have to go back into the source and then, redo everything. But then we just become a couple of those guys on Instagram that you complained about their models. So I don't want to be that guy either.
My model says blah, blah, blah. It was good having you on, fantastic. Joe. I'll definitely have you back when I can.
And likewise, it's time for you to come over on my show too. So we got to work that out.
Hell yeah, dude.
Which we will.
Well, love you guys. Do all the YouTube shit that I ask you to do. It's me, Jagger May. That's Joey P. And I'll see you guys next time.